Hey guys, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing okay. I'm gonna give you an overview as best I can in regards to this case, as opposed to read through the full article. There is a link in the description if you'd rather go through that. I am gonna say though that I am confused by a couple of the details within the article. No surprise there, I do get confused quite easily. But I think there are a few holes in the description of this case, certainly within this article. So I'm going to stumble a little bit at certain points. So I'm going to do the best I can. I'll give you an overview as best I can. So it's in regards to a missing person's case or a missing child's case. Baby Holly, who's been missing for 40 years, but she has now been identified. It's an interesting case, which I'll go through in a moment. But to let you know at this point, the found person, who after 40 years is no longer a baby, her name is Holly Marie Klaus, she's decided not to come forward publicly. So she's asked that her privacy is respected. And perhaps the reasoning is because she doesn't want her life to be meddled with. She doesn't want to have to answer too many questions. I don't really know. Perhaps she's extremely traumatized by the entire events. It would make sense that she would be. But she perhaps doesn't want the likes of slimy YouTubers, perhaps like myself. Now, I try to do things respectfully, but there are slimy YouTubers and investigators, reporters of various kinds that will disrespect people's wishes, and perhaps she just wants to protect herself from such people. But let me give you as good of an overview as I can. In 1981, two bodies were discovered. They'd been murdered, and they'd been discovered in a wooden area in Houston, Texas. Now, the identity of the bodies hadn't been confirmed up until last year. Genetic researchers were able to confirm who the bodies belonged to. Now, I believe, and I could be wrong on this, as I say, the article's not entirely explicit in certain areas. I believe that the authorities, the police, the investigators did suspect that who the bodies belonged to or who the bodies were, and they suspected that they belonged to Tina and Harold Klaus Jr. Because Tina and Harold Klaus Jr. had gone missing. They hadn't been seen since October 1980, as well as their baby, Holly Marie Klaus. And she's known as Baby Holly. She too was missing as of October 1980. So the investigators did believe that the two parents, Tina and Harold Klaus Jr., had been murdered. So with that, I believe that they perhaps suspected the two bodies were of Tina and Harold Klaus Jr., the parents of baby Holly, but it certainly wasn't confirmed that the bodies did in fact belong to Tina and Harold Klaus Jr. That wasn't confirmed until last year. Now, as of Thursday afternoon, in a press conference, First Assistant Attorney General Brent Webster has said that Holly has been discovered. Apparently, she was brought to a church in Arizona by two barefoot women in white robes, and they were believed to be a part of a nomadic religious group. Now, again, the article isn't telling us when these two, frankly, hippies delivered Holly to the church in Arizona. It's not telling us. There's a lot of missing information, but I'm presuming that the two hippies, female hippies, delivered Holly to the church when Holly was a baby. I mean, that's my guess. But there's no real description as to how Holly grew up. It doesn't really tell us that at all. So a lot of question marks, as I say. But what we do know is that Holly is alive and well. She's now 42 years of age. She's in contact with her extended biological family, having been made aware of who her actual biological family is by the police in recent times. And also not only by the police, but this organisation here, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And as I say, the lady concerned, and there's a picture of her there, Holly Klaus, she's asked for her privacy to be respected. So she thanks all those that have been involved in the investigation in regards to the murder of her two parents, as well as the hunting for her to try to find her as a missing child. She's very grateful for all of the time and effort people have put into that, but at the same time, for whatever her reasons happen to be, we don't specifically know why, other than she wishes to have her privacy respected, which is perfectly reasonable. So she's asked for people not to request interviews or to dig into the subject overly. There we go. So that's pretty much everything. I can also let you know that the murders of Holly's parents are still unsolved. So that aspect is unsolved. There is the potential that certain newly uncovered leads may break that case in regards to who murdered Holly's parents. But at least this aspect of the case is closed after more than 40 years. If the question is, where is baby Holly? Well, the answer is, well, she's safe and well. So she's been found, and she's chosen to have her privacy protected, which is she is every right. Okay, guys, as I say, there is a link in the description if you'd rather look into that further. This has been a bit of a muddled video, not my best performance, but, there you go. So, some topics are very straightforward and I can cope well with those. Others are a little bit higgledy-piggledy and I trip over a little bit. But if I've done a half-decent job, if I've been fairly respectful, if you like the other videos that are on the channel, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. I am accepting donations. There's a link in the description. If you feel that you want to buy me a coffee or such, feel free to do that. Of course, no one's obliged to do that, but it might be nice to get a few donations every now and then. So I'm going to carry on making a few more videos throughout the rest of today and this evening. I'm going to thank you for your time. Make sure you have a nice weekend. Don't focus too much on these dark, depressing topics. Go and do something fun. And goodbye for now.